What people drank 100 years ago was organic tea. It was nothing as sweet as that we know today. Most Japanese tea production is all non-organic. It's sprayed with a lot of pesticides, heavily fertilized because people prefer a sweeter taste, and a lot of fertilizer induces that sweetness in the tea. But if you induce that much sweetness in the tea, the bugs come. And so you have to repel the bugs. And so it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
Whereas with non-organic teas, most of them are not as heavily fertilized, and so the bugs don't really come. Plus, if you just let a bush grow naturally, it receives a lot of natural fragrances and sweetness, and also a lot of vigor. The bush becomes more healthy. And so when bugs would come to the bush and affect it in a way, the bush would be strong enough to resist. And that's the strength of what I think natural bushes, because if you overfeed bushes with artificial fertilizer and the bugs affect it and it becomes sick, that means that that bush is weak. Whereas a naturally grown bush is strong. And I'd prefer to drink a bush with, well, a tea with a strong energy. But what I see as the most important point about organic production is that it's the traditional way. Chemistry is only something recent. During that entire period, it's been organic. What people drank 100 years ago was organic tea. It was nothing as sweet as that we know today. For the tea crane, I mainly focus on making artisan Japanese teas accessible. A lot of producers are doing a great job, but they're not accepted by the major tea industry. The major tea industry focuses on creating volume. And if you create volume, you don't want one pack of tea to taste different than the other pack. Your PET bottle should taste the same every time. And so what they do is to create cultivars, tea bushes, clones of tea bushes, because cultivars are produced from cuttings. And if you take those cuttings and you replant them, you get exactly the same bushes. It's a clone. Whereas if you plant bushes from seeds, they all have their own specifications.
Yes.
It's like breeding children. Each child that two parents make, although the parents are the same, are different. Cuttings, making cultivars is taking from cuttings is making clones. And they're all the same. They all have the same traits. And creating tea from that type of cultivar gets you the same flavor. And so a lot of cultivars now are created and planted at most of the tea farms throughout Japan. And to make things worse is they're all being fertilized to induce a certain type of flavor. So you don't really get only the flavor of the tea, but you get the flavor that is induced by the fertilizers, plus the additional pesticides that they spray on it. So that's what the tea industry is doing. And that creates consistency that makes it possible for a broader audience to drink tea, be it in PET bottle or for those who want from a pack of tea. But small artisan tea producers, they have like their own field. It might be a seed-grown native bush, or they have specific cultivars that they like to work with. But because they're not accepted by the tea industry, they have to go and find their own supply route, their own customers.
Of course.
Whereas if you're doing industrial production, you just bring it to the tea market.
So you are between the customer and the producer? Or?
So I try to be a bridge between both, and not in one direction. I don't just want to say, this producer is cool, he makes good tea, I want you to drink it. And what I also want to do is to get feedback from the people who drank it and bring that information back to the producer. So to really create a connection in both ways. You're right, I'm immensely happy. I love what I'm doing. I believe that what I'm doing is valuable. I have a beautiful family. I have a nice house to live in. I think I found my place, which is something I came here looking for 12 years ago, and I think I did find it. So my future is, I think, just doing more of what I'm doing now.